part 2 of the vintage and antique pocket knives, and it's the turn of Souvenir knives. Now, we'll get these two out of the way and have a look at them in a minute. These are just absolute classic little knives. They're all made by Richards of Sheffield, being a company that started producing knives, I think, in 1839 and was bought up in 2007. And they produce little pocket knives like these. Millions and millions and millions of basic, simple little pocket knives with a quite sweet little illustration on it. This one obviously is a London one, I'm guessing. In fact, it's got Grandad guards on it. Plain on the back. And this one, Africa, and a black back. I wonder what some people would make of that nowadays. But anyway, they're all pretty much the same. They are just an absolute classic from the 50s, perhaps. I think they started making these in about 1900, and the last one that I'm aware of was produced in 2002 and was something of the Queen's celebrations. Rather more rare one, in that there's probably only, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of these made, is this twin-bladed effort here. Another Richards knife, another fairly simple, fairly cheap Souvenir knife, twin-bladed, bit of use. That one probably hasn't, but that one's definitely seen a bit of use, which I think adds to the interest of all these things. Now, unfortunately, it's got a big dent on the back, which reduces its value from very little to pretty much nothing, really. I've also got these two, which I think are quite interesting. This is a rather more, perhaps standard for the 1970s type of knife. Very simple plastic handle, scales even. Open one blade, and there's a bottle opener and screwdriver. And that one has just a tiny little blade on it. My dad had one of these in the 70s, that's how I come to remember them. And this one is advertising the Chestnuts, Radcliffe-on-Trent, which is in Nottinghamshire, and which is actually still going. And it's a gastropub, which now rates 4.5 on TripAdvisor. But these are very much of their time. Sometimes see them advertised as like waiters' friends. Well, they've got corkscrew, so I don't think they're waiters' friends. But if anybody does know differently, as ever, please leave a comment. Yep, fairly standard, no real makers' names. Last one is this rather nice one. A souvenir of God Begot House, 1052 to 1971. Now, I did have to dig this up a bit. God Begot House is in Winchester, and it comes presumably from the manor of Good Bayet, and in 1050 English was spoken really rather differently. Yeah, 1050, because while this says 1052 to 1971, visitwinchester.com has the house, which it is, a manor house dated from 1050. Who knows who's exactly right. Very simple little stainless blade. Folds out, doesn't exactly hold its place very well. It is a bit worn. I've tried pressing this back together, but I haven't tried very hard, frankly. Again, a nice, well, the only one that's actually found a proper date on it. So, there we go. How to build up a small, quite colourful collection. All of these came from car boot sales. Not one of them, I think, was more than £1. Most of them are 50p. They don't have a great value, which I think is a real shame. Bundles of these, 10 or 15 of them together, can go for sort of, well, actually, sometimes sort of £30, £40. These are generally things that are thrown away or lost because they're just cheap souvenirs that they're given to kids. I think it's a great shame. I really do. I really, really like these things. These are all picked up last year at car boot sales. There weren't any of these this year. If I do see any of these advertising, I snap them up. I just think I think they're great. And I think it'd be a tragic loss out of the millions and millions and millions that were produced, and how many are actually left. Anyway, a cheap collection for peanuts, really.